I would like to focus on his academic and professional experience first. He has completed his Master of Science at Department of Biochemistry, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, India, in the year 2003 to 2005. He completed his Doctor of Philosophy from Department of Biochemistry, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, India, under the able guidance of advisor Professor Sanjay Govindwar during June 2005 to February 2009. He completed his postdoctoral research in Jungkook National University, Department of Environmental Engineering, Daegu, South Korea, under the mentorship of Professor Dae Sung Lee during October 2009 to February 2014. At present, he is serving as an associate professor at Dongguk University, Department of Biological and Environmental Science, Seoul, South Korea. I would like to focus on its research summary. It is as follows. Just like publications 94, citations 2263, H index 26, I-10 index 45. I would also like to focus on his major research achievements. They are as follows. The first one was treatment of hazardous engineered nanomaterials, adsorptive redemption, remediation of cobalt oxide nanoparticles, magnetized and functionized cellulose fibers, spectrophotometric determination of Fe, green synthesis of silver nanoparticles. Lastly, I would like to focus on his honors and grants. He has completed research project entitled Heavy Metal Ions, Discrimination and Development of Selective Colorimetric Platform during 2017-18 from National Research Foundation, South Korea. Secondly, he has also served as a member of Korean Institute of Chemical Engineering and member of Asian Federation of Biotechnology. Thirdly, he has also served as a teacher assistant during 2005-2007 while pursuing PhD at Department of Environmental Biotechnology, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, India. He has also earned the Merit Scholarship Eklavya during 2003 to 2005 at MSc at Department of Biochemistry, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, India. Lastly, he has also served actively in the Earn and Learn scheme under Dr. Appasai Pawar Vidyarthi Bhavan, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, India. Thank you very much.
I welcome once again Professor Dr. Gajanan Ghodake sir. Such a scholar person is going to address us. Without wasting much time, now I request Professor Dr. Gajanan Ghodake sir to address us.
Thank you for introduction. Can you listen me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks so much. First of all, I am very thankful to the organizing committee of the international webinar on environmental changes, biodiversity, and sustainable resource management. Many thanks to Chief Patron and Maldar sir, Bhanje sir, Dere sir, Adhyutat and Badmori sir. And I am especially thanked to the Solapur Jilla Samaj team to establish this college in the rural areas. And now I would like to finally thank to the technical team for their efforts in organizing this conference during even the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. So this is one of the great efforts has made by this college staff to make this kind of awareness in the society that about the biodiversity and environmental issues and how to protect our water and soil resources. I also like to welcome all students and participants. As already introduced, I will not go further about my further introduction. I would like to just mention some details about my university. This Dongguk University was established in 1906 by one of the Buddhist monk, and now it's established 4 different campuses. One is in the United States and other 3 are in the South Korea. And I am working one of that campus in the Goyang district. So this university has all kind of disciplines of engineering and College of Medicine, College of Pharmacy, and there are many departments of natural science like physics, chemistry, and some other subjects. So this university is performing very great nowadays in the research and development, because there is now struggle in the getting admission by the students, because the population of the country is continues to decline. So there is a struggle to get the admission. So there is a lot of research activities within the ranks. So they have started recruiting all kind of international faculties. So one of that program, I have joined this university in the 2014. So I am very delighted to present some topics about the phytoremediation and their application to protect our natural resources like soil and water. I hope that professors, students, and some of the participants will find new thoughts and research opportunities awaiting in this field. The presentation is to provide a very brief review on the recent developments on the phytoremediation technologies. That is green technology to protect our mother nature. That is very effective. I will mention all details in the further slides. So I will like to cover some of the interdisciplinary topics related to soil and water resource management and environmental protection. So remediation means remedies like to solve the environmental problems. So we call remediation. If it is a phytoremediation, that means that we apply the plants to grow and to address the environmental problems. So it is about the environmental protection, cleanup of the soil, water. It is based on the plant, so it is called as phytoremediation. So along with this interesting topic, it will be great to know that many different selected plants can reduce the risk of the various kind of pollutants that results from the various different industries. And most of the time, we know that like developing countries, there is no such stringent protection for our river water bodies and soil, where the contaminants get directly discharged to the fresh water and the fertile soils. So these are under the big threat for the biodiversity on the soil, where is the contaminants are disposed, as well as the contaminants are disposed in the water bodies like river. So there is a huge threat to the biodiversity of the water bodies and the river, like fish and aquatic plants. So let's start with environmental factors responsible for the origin of the COVID-19, this crisis. So we should consider this and to avoid such emergence from any other part of the world in future. So we have to be very careful. Some of the environmental factors may initiate such kind of origin or evolution of the any viral future crisis. So after that, I will move to the phytoremediation mechanism. Those are very applicable for effective treatment of sustainable way for the soil and water cleanup. So please start with the first slide, that environmental factors for COVID-19. So I would like to mention that how this COVID-19 might be originated. These are one of the hypotheses. This is not of the exact bit, but these factors may be contributed such maybe in future or this current existing pandemic crisis. Nowadays, what happened that interaction of human or domestic animals we grow, that is interaction with wildlife, that serves epidemiological bridge between wildlife, animals, and human infections. So this way, this is one of the process that is zoonotonic disease emerges. That means it moves from the animal to the human. There are some viruses and some infection like bacterial viral. So it moves from the animal to the. So this kind of disease can be result of the human activities, ranging from land use change and changing climate, changes in animals and human host. So changes in the pathogen also, because of the viral always get mutations and that evolves and to exploit the new kind of host, like including humans. For example, bat associated the coronavirus has been emerged in this time, and that has lost its habitat. Bat habitat. Bat is the animal that always help to the agriculture, like pollination and all this. So because of the forest destruction, the bat habitat has been lost. And another reason is the agricultural expansion has been threatened to the cut of the forest. So this has to be very important, that our ecosystem integrity has to be not underlined by human activities. So our human health should be with a sustainable development. So let's consider some of the other things related to coronavirus. Human has induced that environmental changes like global warming, and that also allowed that to reduce biodiversity very severely. And once we lost the biodiversity, it is very hard to repair, because we just are greedy, not responsible to protect the biodiversity. This is the new environmental issues that has favors to find new hosts and to the new pathogens to enter in the human as well as animal. So we know that some of the animal virus, like from the cows and some from the mouse, from the bat, there has been source for the human threat as well. So we should be working with ecosystem integrity that can help to regulate such disease spread from without any protecting diversity of species. So it can be that particular pathogen can be distributed to the different, so it will not dominate and to make the exploit there. So this growing evidence suggests that this outbreak or epidemic disease may be because of more frequent climate changes. So these all factors together may contribute, but there are other factors also responsible for the origin. So we are not going to that, but we should consider this factor very seriously. So another factor is that, particularly we know that when there is the water pollution or the soil pollution, there are many other kind of diseases are spreading, not spreading, but affecting the human health. For example, the state of Punjab has used excessive use of pesticides. So now that state is very affected by the cancer patients. And I was surprised, even our healthy people, like they are living like naturally life in the villages or some place, like they are not involved in the some kind of industry or some kind of agricultural practices, but they are also getting cancers, because the only reason is that excessive use of the pesticides, and that finally reach to the groundwater as well as from our vegetable and fruit sources. So this is the one way that direct indirect exposure to this kind of chemicals finally getting the many kind of metabolic disorders, and that are becoming chronic diseases later on. Another is that there are many places where the industries are established. There are soils are already been contaminated. So directly or indirectly, this one of the few of the pollutants are the mobile, and they travel to the far with the water bodies, and they even affect the far distance people. So this has to be considered a very serious issue. And I would like to mention for our viewers that there are two major categories of the pollutants. One is the inorganic pollutants, another is organic pollutant. So let's understand what are the organic and inorganic pollutants. These are only two categories. There is no other kind of pollutants present in our world. So we know that you will be very surprised that how much pollution, and the rivers, you know that Ganga river was how much polluted. It was very difficult. So there are many water bodies has been contaminated, but we just look around us, but we don't see the pollution. But we are unaware about such kind of excessive pollution in the other part of the world. So indirectly we are getting affected. We should be aware. So in the inorganic pollutants, there are again subtypes of like heavy metals, and another is that kind of inorganic nutrients, even the like NPK, sulfur, phosphor also finally comes to the water if there has been excessively used. So they are not healthy for all of us. Another major inorganic pollutant is radionuclides, uranium, plutonium, thorium. These are very difficult to even extract from the soil and water because they are very toxic. It is not easy to, but at the low concentration we can look for. So environmental pollution caused by such metals, radionuclide, and some organic pollutants affect the quality of environment, soil, water, air, and the human health. So currently, the great efforts have been made to reduce the or remove, stabilize, at least stabilize contaminant present in the polluted soil. So they have to be, because particularly this college has been established in the nearby river basin. I suppose to that this area has been very famous for sugarcane plantation, and they might be aware of the air pollution and water pollution from the sugarcane processing industries. So finally, some of the people are using some of the waste products from the industries to feed the irrigation. So this has to be seriously considered, because we know that some of the soil and the lands of the sugarcane are going to be infertile in the near future, because excessive use of the water and accumulation of salt finally has to make the soil very difficult to cultivate in the future. So these uncontrolled hazardous waste sites are a great threat to humankind and aquatic biodiversity. Can you listen me? Is sound coming?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
there is some call on the WhatsApp, so I thought it may be some disturbance, but okay, I will continue. So considering organic pollutants, there are again various type of organic pollutants from the various industries like textile, pharmaceutical, pesticide industries, as well as from the agriculture practices. Oil spill, petroleum, hydrocarbons. This is another kind of organic pollutant. And the persistent organic pollutants, this is one of the serious category like DDT. You may know that there is no way to degrade such kind of pollutants. Another is that the 2,4,6-trinitroptoluene, called the TNT, and that is from the accidental contamination or from the explosives. That is one of the serious where the explosives has been used. So the soil become very infertile, like somewhere, you know that if there is nuclear war or some bombing, there has been lost every kind of diversity and biodiversity or any kind of life. So such kind of explosives are very dangerous for our nature. So another is a polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon. So these are different types. Polychlorinated biphenyl. So these different organic pollutants are resulting from the different industries. So they are very threat to the humankind as well as domestic animals as well as our cattle, because finally, indirectly way, they has to come to our soil, our animals, or our childs. So let's see there are many kind of contamination, like air contamination, soil, sediments, where there is some industries about the mining, contaminated groundwater. So there are not this single problem. There are different kind of water has contamination problems, like wastewater streams, like industrial, agriculture wastewater, municipal wastewater, that is from urban areas, sewage, domestic wastewater. Therefore, protection of our nature and human from this pollution becoming very challenging these days. So the term contaminated sites, we should aware that refers to that we get restricted because somewhere we choose near the urban areas as a contaminated site to treat and to protect from the direct exposure to the human and other animals. So this ecosystem get high severe impact as well as human health. So there is need of remediation when we just collect or when we need to treat the such. So we should practice some of the practices for remediation. So if we go for traditional, like physical excavation of the contaminated site and land filling to the other place and then treating. So these are very labor-intensive, energy-intensive process, particularly the taking waste from one place to and then when another method is a chemical process where coagulation is a very popular method. We just coagulate and stabilize that particular contaminant, but we are not going to degrade. So this is not the final stage. So these chemical and physical processes are not the final or effective ways to treat. So what are after this physical excavation or some sites or some chemical treatment? So what are the final ways? So we should look for the how we can use the plants to treat such kind of sites. So water bodies we can use for aquatic plants, or land we can use some of the small plant, herbaceous plant as some of the tree. I will discuss here in the later slides. So first of all, let's know that why we need phytoremediation. So this is a very less expensive as compared to the other methods. This is totally green because it is involved the plant. So it again fix the carbon. So it is multiple way it helps to the nature. So our research group currently working on the developing green remediation technologies. As they mentioned, one of our research achievement is about the nanomaterial waste management. You know that nanomaterial is now hugely get manufactured for the many purpose, like many applications, electronic application, catalytic application, industrial application. So finally they are going to reach to the contaminated sites. So we are developing some new technologies to treat such nanomaterial waste. So instead of going to detail of some particular topic, I would expand the scope of the phytoremediation. So we will understand what are the opportunities, possibilities for even business as well as for research possibilities. So shortly, I will go 4 type of phytoremediation mechanisms. Those are phytoextraction, phytostabilization, rhizodegradation, and phytovolatilization. The phytoextraction itself named as extraction, that means we cannot extract the organic compound, but we can extract the inorganic pollutants. Those are heavy metals and those. So it is also called as phytomining. If it is about the precious metal, we can also call as phytomining of precious. If it is heavy metal, so we can extract the metals from the soil through the root system when the plant absorbs. So which plants are very appropriate for such application? We will go in detail in the next other slide. So phytostabilization is another stabilization by using plant. So there is no degradation, no extraction, but phytostabilization. It's like some plants releases some kind of polymers. As Maldar sir explained, some of the biopolymers get released, and those polymers get cover the pollutant, and those get stabilized. So we restrict the dispersal of those pollutant from one place to another place. So this is called a phytostabilization. There are many details. If we go, we will not cover the other topic. So I will move to the other, rhizodegradation. Rhizo means the root part. It is the scientific term rhizo. So the root part, if there is some plants produce a lot of roots, so we can develop the water system where the water is contaminated. So the aquatic plants growing, the roots are going far deeper in the water, and those provide the surface for the different kind of microorganisms are responsible for the degradation of the pollutant. So in this process, we have to augment the system to run, to speed up. So we use some of the nutrients, some of the required environment. We add some additional microflora. Those are responsible. So in addition to the indigenous microorganism, we add some like research, some of the other good or effective microorganism to improve the speed. So if we are performing on the soil, we can use biofertilizers, some of the compost, some of the organic waste material that has to be. So agroforestry waste is also used to just enhance the plant growth. So that way we can improve the growth of the plant and the removal of the pollutants from the soil. So the final mechanism or strategy is the phytovolatilization. That means that some of the plants are very effective to take the pollutants and convert into the volatile compounds, and they process in the leaves or in the body, and then they release in the air, and finally it gets again degraded by the UV rays in the sunlight. So this way there is different mechanism, but some plants perform this or some plants perform other mechanism. It's not like that, but this can be collectively happen. So these are more effective way, and there is the final solution using these plants. There is no residual left if we complete the process. So these are very effective. Let's look at the many different phytoremediation systems are possible using these phytoremediation technologies. So we can consider the hydroponic system, constructing wetlands. If there are some kind of water available, we have to construct wetland and then grow the plants in the wetland. Hydroponic system has to be designed, well planned, and planting trees. That is for the, so these four methods. So if we are going to aquatic plants, we have two options about the hydroponic system and constructed wetland. So let's consider that phytoremediation use specially selected plants, not like food plants or fruit plants, but those are very tolerant to the contaminants. So we select those plants to reduce or to remove the pollutants from the soil, water, sediment, and air. So we suggest to plant, have some trees, small trees in the home or offices to get the clean air or to get the purification of the airs, because after all the air is already contaminated. So we have to always plant inside the office, inside the home, as well as outside the outdoor also. We have to plant as many plants where we can plant. So this method can be proposed very cost effective plant-based approach for environmental remediation. The concentrating effect result that ability of certain plants are hyperaccumulator. Hyperaccumulator means they are very efficient. They tolerate, they store the contaminant in their tissues. So some of the plants we choose for this purpose. So hydroponic system is based on water. We all know that these days this system is also used to grow some of the vegetables. And this system, hydroponic system, we can also use for research purpose in the laboratories. So this is a small setup we can make. Then we can perform a different experiment on a specific pollutant using specific plants. So multiple plants together. So in the continuous system or in the small system. So hydroponic systems are very effective for the research purpose as well as for the agriculture purpose, particularly for vegetables and some of the fruits like tomatoes also. So let's see, the constructed wetlands means what? We select, design the land, that is for the particularly for the water management. So we call it the wetland, and that is also well done for management of that particular site. So these are very appropriate to grow some kind of plants, like we call the microphytic plants. They either grow on the water, like floating water. So these are, we have plants such. So some of the plants are known for the like water hyacinth, typha hydrilla, and some of the duckweed, that is amaranth. In the Marathi we call tandrada. I would like to aware that if this vegetables has been grown in the nearby contaminated site, we should be avoid to consume such kind of vegetable. Particularly, for example, in the Mumbai, you might see that nearby the railway tracks, they are growing some vegetables, and they are using some domestic wastewater to grow such vegetables, and they take care of the health of the other peoples, but they're directly supplying to the market. So this kind of vegetables are very threat to the human health, because this can contain the heavy metals that are like arsenic, are very toxic, that can cause cancer and other health issues. So constructed wetlands can be done many different formats. So it is not possible to show you how we can show the different setup, like a free water surface, then submerged water surface with vertical as well as horizontal. Another important advantage is that this kind of wetlands can be very effective also for the effective removal of ammonia from the water bodies, ammonification, and some of them are reactor based. We can also do big reactors in the processing units where agriculture or some of the industrial waste has to be treated. So we can develop such sites. So let's go to the how we can perform the static aquatic plants. That means the plants has been planted manually or it has been growing naturally nearby the wasteland. So some of the effective plants as this can be planted, like for example, you might see that water hyacinth, we call that pan kani something in Marathi. So this is a very effective way to protect those water bodies. I want to tell you that this aquatic phytoremediation is totally nature-based system. So it has potential to provide efficient solutions and to target multiple pollutants. This is not to worry about the other pollutant or this pollutant. So if we plan, this can be multi-target treatment system. I want to mention here that there are many opportunities now to do business using the plants, because you know that many industries are not taking responsibility to take care of their waste. So here, if we develop some technologies and provide solutions for industries, then there are many business opportunities to generate. Another most important is that this business can be expanded to the very large level. So we have to work for the large scale for industrial application. Again, we can provide ecosystem services. Those are potential for another advantage, that resource recovery. Because when we grow such plants or trees, we can get the resources, bioresources, or other industrial applications. So it's very hard to show you here because there is no slideshow here. So I want to mention is here, there is a very effective way, is floating wetland biofilm. In this system, the plant plays about around 10% role, but they provide good surface area for the microorganisms naturally present in the water, and the rest of job has been handled by this microorganism. So when the water grows and the system is floating around the water, these microbes break down the nutrient as well as pollutant. And this removal of nitrogen, ammonia, phosphorus, or other organic pollutants can be effectively done by the microbes. So this is the very good cooperation of the plants and the microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, even algae that work together. This is one of the award-winning cooperation, like fixed nitrogen from the plant that provided to the as carbon source, abundant amount of carbon source to the microbes. So they get some benefits from the microbes, and the roots get some benefits from the. So they are the symbiotic relationships that boost efficiency of the cleanup process. So the floating wetlands can be designed and practiced very sustainable way, and this phytoremediation can be performed like developing small method like small island, very effective for rapid development. I have been working before that about the textile wastewater from Isalkanji region that has been that that water has been used because textile industry itself consume a lot of water in the processing. So they are not taking responsibility. Some of the industries are directly throwing water, colorful water to the river water bodies. So this fresh water, the drinking water get polluted, and finally the color and the biodiversity get totally damaged. So we should develop this kind of new technologies for textile industries, and even Solapur is also very popular for textile industries. So in my PhD time, I have discovered that our Indian mustard, that is we called mohuri, that is very effective for the phyto-extraction of the metal ions. So let's go further. That another is that we can, when we are working on the land, we can also use for this Indian mustard. This is a very cost-effective, non-destructive, fast extraction of heavy metals. So if we amend or add some organic matter, organic chelating agents for heavy metals, fertilizers, we can enhance the phytoremediation process, phyto-extraction. This kind of phyto-mining from this land, contaminated land, metal accumulating plants like brassica was proposed by the many researchers for the worldwide application in the large scale. And this is very aesthetic also. We can, if there is like large, look like large farm, very appealing to the visitors also. Another most well-known plant is sunflower. You will be surprised that sunflower is a very effective in the nutrient and metal extraction. So somebody might be discussed with you that once we plant the sunflower, there is hard or difficult to get the another crop, a healthy crop or better good yield, because this plant have ability to extract huge amount of nutrients as well as pollutants or heavy metals or some of the any kind of things. So when we apply this plant on the contaminated slides, this plant have ability to clean up the contaminated slides. So we can rotate the crops, like once sunflower, then another crop, then finally we can treat the soil, and that can be fertile or it can be well cleaned up. So sunflower is very effective. I will not go in the mechanism how it help or these are the biological mechanism. This plant has those advantages. So another is that if we go for the underground water, groundwater contamination is coming serious issue these days. So look how we can address the groundwater, because that is very deep in the so it is not easy to directly treat them. So we will discuss some of the trees are very applicable. Those are called as poplar and willows. So poplar and willows are come under the agroforest system. So this agroforest system, these are woody plants. They grow fast, and there are many plant species of this genus that can be applicable for the direct planting. So the mechanism I will discuss here about how they work. So it will be interesting for you. These species, like particularly woody species like poplar and willows, they are very popular for the rapid growth, because you know that within 1 year they produce tons of the biomass. Their growth is fast, so this can be produced ideal for biomass production as well as treatment of the contaminated water. So these woody plants perform very multiple ways. Like they do phyto-extraction, phytostabilization, rhizodegradation simultaneously. So they become very effective. These days, very hybrid plants are available. Those are very effective to treat the broad diversity of the contaminants. Let's look at the willow. The willow plants are not too big trees, but the small trees, they go straight, and They are very good alternative for the traditional remediation techniques. Those are involving like excavation or transport or landfilling of the soil. But the phytoremediation using the willows is a very sustainable alternative. These willows are also associated with diverse range of microbial communities. They work together. Like phytoremediation makes successful not only the roots, but together with. So here the plants also play together role with the microorganism. These willow trees in the phytoremediation process, particularly if we apply for the contaminant site, they are again the cost effective. Again, the restoring the mining sites, landfills, and contaminant sites are very applicable because these are not for the groundwater because these are small trees. Another advantage is that willow trees can grow even high acidic soil, 3 to 4 pH. Even contaminated sites with heavy metals like copper, zinc, nickel, these are very common. So these trees are very popular for wood biomass, and they have potential of producing 3 tons of solid biomass per hectare per year. So can you imagine this can be used for processing raw material into the biorefineries for energy, bioenergy or renewable energy. So there are many advantages. Let's look another tree that is very popular for groundwater treatment. That is called poplars. Poplar also planted for the wood purpose, but they also comes with timber and wood and other biomass. These trees are also fast growing. Their biomass can be used for packaging boxes, making packaging boxes in industrial pallets, biofuels, paper pulp, or some of the musical instruments. So this is one of the timber kind of, but they are very effective in the treatment of the contaminant sites. Most effective advantage of this plant is the transpiration rate is very high, and it is totally dependent on the groundwater. So after the 2 to 3 years of the establishment of plants, the roots of this tree goes deep in the soil and reach to the area of the water, groundwater. So this is called as water zone. Its scientific term. So that is above the groundwater level in order to maintain high transpiration rate means they consume a lot of water and they release to the air. And meanwhile, they also release the contaminant into the air through this process. So this way, the poplar act as some of the very interesting water pump. Can you imagine water pump? They transpire enormous amount of the water from the groundwater to the air, and meanwhile that water get treated. Uptake of contaminants present in the groundwater happens simultaneously, and these poplar are most often used for the phytoremediation because they play a significant role in the groundwater remediation. Phytoremediation occurs in combination with, as I told you, through all mechanisms: phytodegradation, phytovolatilization, rhizodegradation, and some part of maybe other also. So as I mentioned that these are different approaches, there are different ways to look about the application of the plants, selecting appropriate plants for the particular environmental problem so that can be very sustainable, less energy efficient. And finally, I would like to conclude with few points of this technology. As I have already mentioned, I would again mention few of them. The cost of this technology is very less than other traditional processes, and it can be applied both in situ and ex situ. I think most of the viewers may understand what is in situ and ex situ. So on-site application and off-site application in simple terms. So this is a very effective alternative to generate the source of new renewable energies, energy conservation, because process, that all kind of energy intensive processes. So this process is very unique. So there is possibility of recovery and reuse of the valuable metals. If there are precious metals, we can use the plants to extract, and to after the extraction there is processing, so we can also extract those of the precious metals as well as heavy metals and dispose to the safe sites. So this another advantage is this preserves the topsoil from erosion and maintain the fertility or improve the fertility of the soil. So this is combination of the big trees or small trees and some of the even grass species also very important. So it increases soil health, also yield, and some of the plant-based phytochemicals. This is again source is possible, as Maldar said, that there are many possibility of need of working on the phytochemicals, and with sustainable way, green chemistry application, no pollution without. So there these technologies has to be feasible around our areas. So finally, I would like to say that these plants are very effective, multiple ways, and there is countless benefits. Another benefits like environmental benefits, global warming. We can reduce global warming. We can secure carbon sequestration. Unlimited application of this technology has. So I hope you enjoyed today's discussion presentation, and I hope if you have some questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ghodake
Thank you
sir.
very much,
Thank you.
Dr. Gajanan, sir, for your valuable guidance.
Yeah,
Which
please speak loudly, and if there are questions, I would like to raise. Thank you.
and these are causing the diseases in human
Please use mic, sir. Mic, use mic.
nowadays excessive use of pesticides and fertilizers in environment, and how technology can preserve the environment and the biodiversity. Thank you very much. Now I ask all the participants, if you have any queries, questions, doubts, feel free to ask Dr. Ghodake sir. If you want to ask a question, unmute your microphone and ask.
Sir, can you say loudly? Use mic. Can you say loudly? Yeah, your voice is not audible. Please say loudly.
If any participant wants to ask a question, they can unmute their speaker and ask the question.
Yeah, please raise hand or type your question or ask question, please. Yeah, type your question. You may type your question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Advitot sir wants to say something.
Yeah.
Sir, a very good lecture today I heard. So I congratulate Dr. Ghodake sir. My question is, apart from this seminar, as you are associated with Foreign University of Korea, please tell about how you are getting the students, the process of getting the students in your institute after completing post-graduation from Seoul University.
Your question is about student, right?
Student admission in Korea or further research.
Admission, okay. Admission, okay.
Either for PhD.
How to get the admission in Korea? Yeah, there is question. Okay, I would like to give the brief points because every details cannot be covered. But first of all, if you want, you are looking for getting admission in any field like natural sciences, engineering, or medical, or any kind of. So you suggest to be come for master degrees or PhD degrees, not for bachelor, because there are no such fellowships, or there are some still the transition between the Korean language and English language has not been completed. So please look for master as well as for PhD programs. Another most advantage is that you should have a good percentage or good score in the last degree when you are going to apply. And another is that before application, you go to appear on English language exams like IELTS or other TOEFL or any other. I suggest for Korea, IELTS is okay, and bring maximum score and have some other documents. And then there is normal process like application or looking some professor, post professor, then communication, and then going to proceed step by step. So most important thing is that your degree score and your English language score. These 2 points are very important. So if you are okay with these 2 points, the rest thing will happen, because step by step, communicating with the university office, because every university has a website and they provide emails and phone numbers. So there is no problem of communication. So most of professors also are on the websites. So you can look for the particular professor or universities. Those are related to your subject. So direct communication with officers as well as some professors can help you to guide and proceed your application. So this is not complicated process for you. So these officers will take care of your application, because some of the time, if you are going in like at personal level, it will be hard, because some of the universities still use some local language websites. So you have to communicate, and then you have to solve step-by-step problems. That will be not big issue. So who are interested, so please keep in mind, you should have good score of your degree, last degree, and maximum score of any English language that recognized worldwide. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm
Vinayak,
Dr.
sir.
Vinayak Dula.
I know.
I'm audible, sir?
Nice to meet you.
Yes, yes,
You are
sir.
my
I'm
friend.
fine. Yes. Just one question for you, because I am working in this particular area since 7 to 8 years. So I have doubt related to the after use of the plant. When we use in the wastewater treatment, even we are using for the textile wastewater treatment, particularly in phytoremediation or rhizofiltration or root zone based technology. So after use of this those plants or plant material,
Loudly.
can we dispose that particular plant material in the environment, or is there any method, or is there any process for the degradation of that plant material, or what we can do that use the plant material? Means after the phytoremediation. Did you get my point?
Yes, I understand. Actually, it is not recommended. It is chance. I told you that there is chance to come in the food chain, because
Yes, right.
because some people are not responsible, and they even by chance or coincidence or any other reasons, it may come in across to the people. So suppose if we are using some oil plant like brassica or sunflower, it can go for the biorefinery or for other processing units. So it can be converted to that way, or if it is serious contaminants, it can be disposed well with some guideline. So it is not recommended to use as food purpose or any kind of making oil, or there is no, has to be very careful about that. Yeah, thank you. It cannot be used for any human feeder or animal feeder. No, it's not allowed. Yes.
Okay. But if it is used in sewage treatment plant, can we use that, because it is non-toxic or a little bit toxic in form? So can we use that plant material where
in the contaminants there is no such toxic or non-toxic, because if there is contaminate, for example, suppose how we can identify the heavy metals, this heavy metal is good or not? It is not any kind of biomass or biomaterial are not allowed to any come across to the even though if suppose we are not careful about the taking, because this is a long process, because growing trees and all this, so we have to dispose or use for the such purpose, where suppose if we want to make some wood products from the poplar or willows or some kind of paper, so we have to test every details, like what are the composition of that biomass, or is there still some of the serious, so we cannot use for that purpose. So we can look for another way. So that's where the we have to use that. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Huh? Thank you, sir. Thank you for explanation. Thank you very much, sir. And I congratulate you, sir, on behalf
Thank
of
you.
Solapur University.
Yeah, nice to
Okay,
meet
thank
you.
you, sir. Same to you,
After a
sir.
long time. Yeah, we will be in touch.
Yes, sure, sir.
Is there
I'll be
anyone?
in touch, sir.
Is there anyone who wants to ask a question or query to Dr. Ghodake, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
Or shall we go ahead? Okay.
Yes.
We'll go ahead, friends. We have made a minor change in our schedule. Now let us move ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.